Alright guys, welcome back to the automotive garage, and well, here we have a 2010 Nissan Maxima. It's got the 3.5 V6 in her. Problem is, customer complaint is that has a misfire, under acceleration, doesn't want to run right, even at idle, vehicle shaking all over the place, check engine lights on, check the code, comes back as cylinder 5 misfire, and it also has a PO 300, which is multiple cylinder misfire. So basically what we're going to do is go through the whole thing. We're going to tear the whole intake off, replace the rear number 5 cylinder Nissan coil, put new plugs in it, replace the intake plenum gasket, new coil, change the oil, and ship it. So first thing you want to do is remove the dummy cover, and it is held on by 2 Torx head bolts. Size is 30. Yeah, 30. And once you get that off, it's pretty much, you just pop this side off. It's got a spot here and here that you can get that off. You can just throw this out of the way because we're not going to be needing that for a while. And so basically, gonna get in here, and now pretty much it's all 10 millimeters. It takes the intake off. Never actually done this job before on one of these, but it's pretty much simple as any other vehicle. And I got a bunch of vacuum lines and stuff to go through. I don't know the exact sizes. I'm just gonna tell you what they are when I go through them, and show you that along the process. I may skip some of it, I'm sorry, but I'm basically just showing you what you need to do to replace the ignition coil, and how to fix this problem so you can get your vehicle back on the road. Alright, got the camera set up where I want it. I'm going to try to keep this in a part 1. It may come out in part 1 and part 2. Just depends on how the camera does and what I get done. Like I said, I'm not going to go slow through it. I'm just going to skip through it and get this thing done, because time's a wasting. So anyhow, you want to take the intake bolts off. These clips, hold it on. Unplug the mass airflow sensor plug, just like so. You gotta get a flat head and get that off. I don't know why they did it like this. You can't even really get your hands in here. Alright. Okay, so after you get this out of the way, come to find out, this one wasn't even tight, so that's not good. Anything after the mass airflow, if it's not tight, that'll cause a vacuum leak or cause a problem, and that'll cause a hesitation or a misfire. But once you get this off and this one off, that goes to this box for the PCV part vent, just lay that out of the way. There's actually another clamp way down down in there that I've got to get off because the hose won't come off. See what I'm talking about? The bottom one. Then you have this one. Then you got this one. And then if yours is like this one was loose. Make sure, just inspect the hose. Make sure it's in good condition. There's no cracks in these ribs are here, because if there is, you might as well replace it while you're in here. This one looks fine. I don't see any issues, so we're moving on. Alright, so throttle body's off now. And basically, it's 4 of these guys. They're Allen head made, and the size is a 5 millimeter Allen. Once you take those off, make sure you keep up with them. They are all the same size, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. But the bottom one, make sure the bottom one right has this bracket for the wiring harness. Just keep up with that when you put it back together. Once you unbolt it, knock it off, just tap it, and lay it to the side. That's all you need to do. Don't unplug the lines to it because it's got coolant in it, and that's the only reason. So just unhook it from the intake, lay it to the side. I do have a vacuum hose right here, got to get off with a clamp. And as for the top, we got to get this guy off. 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter. These sensors I believe some of them are EGR boost sensors and stuff like that. Anyhow, get that off from the intake. And then down here, underneath, here, and here, straight underneath, is another 210s that takes these metal lines off that run across, that are bolted to the intake as well. Those have got to come off. Alright, we're just about there. So, once you take all the 10s out of the sensors, 10 millimeters, 1, 2, 3, and then you got one here. See, it's moving now. And then the ones down here to the lines, they go to the side of the intake. One over here and one over here. That comes off. Lay these sensors back. Don't unplug them or nothing. Just take them out and lay them to the back. Pull the vacuum line off of here. Pull the vacuum line off of this one. And the one off of here. Lay it to the side. Now you want to take 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and then this bracket with a 10 on it. And then you got some more vacuum hoses at the back that I got to get to. And then we can raise the intake off of the block. Now that you got all that done, look at this. Ta-da! Alright. Off of the intake, and off of the block, turn it to the side so I can get to the hoses on the back side over there. Alright, so now we're on this side. I'm trying to get the best view as I can. You have that clamp right there with a hose that goes down to the valve cover. Then you got one behind it right there. You take that off. Then, if you pay attention, right here is the head of a 10 millimeter bolt that holds the AC line at the back. You take that bolt right there out and it undoes the intake, and then we should be good as far as for this side. Just in case you were wondering, I'm using a 1/4 inch 10 short length socket to get that last bolt out for that bracket. Or you could use a ratcheting wrench swivel 10 millimeter. Okay, now that everything is off, should be able to just wiggle that puppy right off of there. Now, see right here the bracket. Right here, here's what I was fighting with at the very back. Then you've got this hose with a clamp. Then you got a hose here with a clamp. And then you got one right here on the back of the throttle body. By the way, replace these gaskets. Do not reuse them. I don't trust it. I don't suggest it. I suggest going and buying new ones. It's only the upper plenum gasket when you go to order it. And I've got the part number over here. And here's the new set. I got this from O'Reilly's, and I'm not a sponsor. Part number is MS97220 Velcro. So, and this is what it should look like. Fits here. Lay some rags over the intake so nothing falls in them. Don't want nothing going down in the holes while you're trying to do other work. Alright, so number 5 is this guy. Right here. Take this connector off, pinch it, pull it straight out. There is one 10 millimeter bolt, and then wiggle it, pop it right up. And also, like I mentioned before, I'm doing all 6 spark plugs. So I gotta take the other 2 coils off, replace those plugs, put it back in. And the plugs that I'm using are these guys. Not a sponsor either. Got these from AutoZone. One thing I want to know, if you're using these plugs, customer got these, so I'm not sure if these are actually factory, but I'm pretty sure they are. However, for this engine, if you get these type, it looks like this, do not gap them. They come pre-gapped. You don't touch them. There's a little prong inside here. If you screw that up, that's it. They come pre-gapped. This is a different type of size. It is not a 5/8 to adjustable size. It's actually a 14. I got a 14 socket that slides over it and locks it in place. So that's what I'm going to use. Now, one thing I did not like is when I removed this plug, it was loose. So loose that I could turn it with my hand. So basically, as you can tell, this is number cylinder 5 that had the misfire. You can see it's all black. That's telling me that coil was actually bad and it wasn't firing. You see the difference. And if I'm not mistaken, these are NGKs as well, but they are similar, but they're not the same. So anyhow, I don't put anything on the threads. I really don't. I just put them back in and just snug it down, and then once it's snug, then like sort of a half turn and you're done. Okay, so here's the new coil. C1607. No, C160. Yeah, okay. It's supposed to be brand new. It's about $100. Not a sponsor. Got this at AutoZone. Would love for them to sponsor me, but take the old one, match it up to the new one, make sure they're identical, which they should be, as long as the parts guy ordered it right. Yep, everything's the same here, and everything's the same there, the same length. Don't pay this no attention. That's just because it looks different doesn't mean anything's wrong with it. It's just where they manufacture that from the factory. It's just the glue that you see. So I am going to put a little bit of lubricant in here for the plug so it makes good contact. Some grease, which is pretty known as this stuff or this. You get this at any parts store. It's pretty cheap. It's like $1 and something. You put this on every boot for the spark plug. Basically just put enough just like that on it. You don't need that much. And then just pop it right back in once you do the plug. Just like so. Run it down. And it's right in place. Take the bolt. Put it back down. Now, I'm going to finish this procedure for all the rest of the other 5 cylinders. There are 3 up here and the other 2 back there. I'm not replacing all the coils. I only did the one that had the misfire issue. I'm going to do the plugs, and then once I do the plugs, then we'll move on to the rest. Okay, moving on. Intake manifold gasket. Right here she is. Go ahead and pop it on right now. So you want to take the old one out. Just get a hold of it like this. And just very thin. This is one of the other reasons why I said it needs to be replaced. Might as well since you're already in here. Toss it. We don't need that no more. Next step, I'm going to take your Purified cleaner, whatever you choose. Brake parts cleaner. Spray some on the towel. And just wipe the surface down where the oil's at. Just so everything's clean and makes a good mating surface. You don't want the contaminants from the oil onto the gasket to not allow it to seal well. Don't have to go crazy, just enough to clean it all off. Just be careful whenever you use it. The main reason I say that is because the paper towels are cheap. The fabrics will fall off into the intake, and then you'll be digging that out. You don't want that sucked down into your engine. New. How do you know which side it goes down? Easy. See these little tabs that stick up right here? Here and here? Well, the intake has those tangs right here and here. You basically just lay the gasket in there. You don't put nothing on it. just lay it in there dry. Push it down, just like so. All the way around. Alright, once it's in its places, remove the towels. Another thing too you might want to do is take your brake cleaner and clean the surfaces off of the intake, which would help seal it well. Okay, it's all clean. You basically just want to do vice versa of reinstallation. And I'm just really going to speed through and get this thing put back together, because I pretty much showed you how to take it off. Same thing, put it back on. So it's really not that difficult. Shouldn't be. Also, one thing I like to note is this gasket right here should also be replaced. It's called the throttle body base gasket, but it's like 21 or 25 bucks. The customer doesn't want to spend that, so we're just going to slap it back on, and it should be fine. There is some gasket left, but I do highly recommend changing this out since you got it apart. Alright, everything is back together. I have topped off all the fluids. Antifreeze is a little bit low, and just want to make sure everything's good before it leaves here. I still need to change the oil, but that is for another time. I've got it on the channel if you want to check that out. But anyhow, let's go ahead and fire it up and see how it runs. Alright, it's got 154,000 on the clock. We're going to clear the codes. OBD scanner and recodes. Cylinder 5, PO 305, and then permanent actually has 2 multiple cylinder misfire. Anyhow, we're going to completely erase, and you'll have to do at least a drive cycle on this vehicle after this, because everything is completely reset. At least about, I would say, 50 to 100 miles, and go from there. Let's go ahead and fire it up and see what happens. So far, running pretty smooth. Seems to be running all right. Idling down. Let's go check out the exhaust. Running pretty smooth. No misfires, no putting, no smoke. Say she's fixed. Yep, I'd say that's fixed. Alrighty guys, so I think that pretty much sums it up. Go ahead and put the dummy cover back on. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, criticism, leave them in the bottom. I'll try my best to get to them. And the vehicle's warming up, so I was going down. And I hope this video really helps out. Whatever you were looking for. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. And as always guys, consider subscribing. Make sure you have the notification bell on so every time I upload you get notified. Thanks for watching guys. Stay tuned for more. Have a great day or night. That's how you replace ignition coil and intake manifold gaskets on a 2010 Nissan Maxima.